Go after big jobs. Don't be scared. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to find bigger jobs, how to bid them, and how to win them. When I was in commercial drywall, when I was a project manager, my boss was used to doing $20,000 and $30,000 little contracts. And the biggest, up to that point when I first started, the biggest job that they had gotten was a $100,000 contract. He thought that was like huge because he was used to the little things. And when I came in the door, I convinced them, hey, let's go after bigger projects. Let's go after the big stuff. And when we started putting our focus, our time and attention on the bigger contracts, we started landing $500,000 contracts, $600,000 contracts, bigger projects than we were normally used to. One of them was called Casa Tua inside of Saks Fifth Avenue. It was a high-end Italian restaurant, huge project. For us, there was like complicated framing and millwork. It was like this huge $500,000 contract. Another one was a 7-story major renovation for an old hotel here in Miami Beach. Another one was another hotel. So we kept going after these bigger projects and we kept landing them. So now fast forward a few years as I am builders, the advice I've always given is break in with a new company, start with smaller to medium jobs, break in and build yourself up. While that's a great strategy, recently I've kind of switched my method a little bit because one of our clients is doing what I call bidding packages. I taught him how to bid a package where instead of coming in as a framing and drywall contractor or just doing one trade, he's actually bidding 5 or 6 trades per project. And recently he's in the final running to win a $1.1 million contract. And that subcontractor, my client, had never worked with that GC before. And I said to myself, hold on a second. My client is gonna win a $1.1 million contract and it's the first job that he's gonna do with his GC. Hold on a second. Maybe we gotta rethink this a little bit. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you why you need to bid bigger jobs. I'm gonna show you how to find these bigger jobs. And I'm gonna show you the bidding and follow-up strategy on how to land these big jobs. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna show you my ninja strategy that I'm using to land 5 times a 5x contract value every single project. So why do we need to go after bigger jobs? So bigger jobs, right off the bat, they're gonna pay you way more money with less work. Number 2, you're gonna have less competitors. Less competition means more jobs won for you. What happens is there are less people going after these bigger jobs. If you're used to doing $20,000 contracts, $50,000 contracts, there's a lot of people in that space. You don't need a credit line. You could do things with cash. You don't even need to be that professional. You don't need to know how to do submittals. When you're elevating to the next level, you have to you're gonna be in a different ballpark. You're gonna be dealing with different types of clients, different levels of expertise, so there's less competition. Number 3, you're dealing with professionals. So for those of you guys that are in residential, you know what I'm talking about. When you're talking to a homeowner and they don't know anything about construction, it's hard to explain to them that by adding additional work, you got to charge them, right? So when you're dealing with bigger projects, for the most part, you're going to be dealing with business to business, all right? And a lot of these people already know about construction, or they're going to have their owner's reps that are going to guide them through the process. So it's going to be a way better project for you. All right, so let's look at the first one. What do I mean by when I say you're gonna get paid more for doing less work? What does that even mean? All right, so let's say I wanted to sell $5 million in construction projects in a 12-month period. Put in the comments below how much you did in the last 12 months, whether it's 500,000, a million, 0, maybe you're just starting out. Put it in the comments below. All right, so for example, what is the path to $5 million a year? There's a few routes here. First route, we can sell $5 million projects, right? We can do one. So we can just bid a bunch of $5 million projects and hopefully land one. Your closing rate might be less, but you can just do one project a year, right? So if you're a GC, this might not even be that difficult because most general construction projects are 500,000, a million, 2 million. Like GC projects aren't small projects. They're usually up there. All right, if you're a subcontractor, a $5 million contract might be a several story building high rise. All right, so you got to think about that. The second route, we can do $500,000 contracts, right? Mid-sized projects. For some of you guys, this will be larger projects. You can do 10 jobs a year, right? That's about 1 a month, a little less than 1 a month. So if you start 1 job a month, that's what that looks like. All right, let's look at the next one. You can do $250,000 contracts. If you do that, to get to 5 million, you need 20 jobs, right? You could still manage 20 jobs. $5 million, 20 jobs, that's about 1.5 jobs a month that you're gonna start, all right? That's not bad at all. Or we can do $50,000 contracts. That's 100 jobs in the year. So that's looking about 9 jobs a month. Starting and finishing 9 jobs a month, that's a lot. Or you could do $20,000 little baby contracts and you can do 250. That's like 21 projects a month. That's like that's freaking crazy. Like that's a lot of jobs. So why do I say that? Because the sweet spot is going to be the $250,000 jobs and the $500,000 jobs. That's really where you want to be at. If you're a subcontractor, this is kind of like the sweet spot. You want to be in that range. If you're a GC, I would advise 500,000 and up is like the minimum you should be going after. So remember something, the reason I did this breakdown is I want you to understand something. Because of how many jobs you're gonna need, you're gonna be limited by your crew size, and you're gonna be limited just the fact that you have to be involved and manage these jobs. So there is a cap, right? So why not go after the bigger job? Like for example, if you go after a $200,000 job and you land it, it's basically the same work to land a $20,000 job, but you're gonna get paid 10 times more money The only difference is instead of doing it in 2 months, you're gonna do it in 6 months. Boom, that's it. It's that simple. Now we're talking about big jobs, but you wanna always have a mix. You never wanna just put all your eggs in the big jobs. So the way you wanna see it is the small jobs are like the cash flow, the quick in and outs, right? You're gonna go in, do the work and get out. And then the big jobs are the home runs, all right? So in baseball terms, the small jobs are the singles, the big jobs are the home runs. And you wanna have a mix. You never wanna just have one or the other. All right, so now I'm gonna walk you through step by step how to start selling these bigger jobs. Let's go. So step one is we need to find these projects. We need to find bigger jobs. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna research the companies that are actually doing these bigger jobs. And there's this relatively new, let's call it technology. They're called lead platforms. They used to be books back in the day that they would deliver to the general contractors and the subcontractors' offices, but now they have these great online platforms. They're commercial lead platforms. So they're directories that will publish companies, and they're also publishing the jobs that are available in your area. So these are companies like Dodge, we have the Blue Book, we have ConstructConnect, we have BuildingConnected, we have PlanHub. There's a bunch of them. And the truth is that they pretty much all do the same thing. All they do is they give you the data of the contact info and they give you the information about the project. By the way, this is not like Angie's List or Home Advisor. Those are borderline scams because they're kind of reselling. Like Angie's List and Home Advisor, for some of you guys, that's like a residential type thing where they're reselling leads and they're like basically giving you competition. In this case, they're giving you the data so you can know where to do the prospecting. All right, so what is a lead platform? So a commercial lead platform was designed to connect architects with general contractors and general contractors with the subcontractors. So like if you're an owner or you're a construction manager or you are a owner's rep, you need a GC, you're gonna be able to publish your project so that general contractors can find out about it and contact you and say, hey, I'm interested in bidding this job. And then if you're a subcontractor, you're gonna be able to research all the general contractors and you're gonna be able to look up the projects that the GCs are needing bids on. So instead of knocking door to door, you're actually gonna be going straight to the project. All right, so this is Dodge. Dodge is one of the platforms that I recommend when you're doing your lead generation. And again, they pretty much all do the same thing. Dodge, Blue Book, ConstructConnect, BuildingConnected, they're pretty much all the same. What I'm gonna show you is I want you to think of concept. All right, so what I can do is I could come into Dodge and go to projects, right? So let's say I want to find these bigger projects. And let's say I'm in Miami, right? Miami, or no, it's by county. So let's come in here and let's search through Dade. Let's see, we're in Florida. So Florida, let's put Dade. So I'm going to say Dade and Broward, which are the counties that are near me, right? So I'm going to come in here and it's going to start filtering. All right, filter number one. So I'm just going to literally go down the list and I'm going to put the action stage. So if I'm a GC, I can look into the pre-design and the design phases and the bidding and negotiating phases. And what I want to do is I also want to filter out all this like water treatment plant stuff, like road work. Like if I'm not going to do that stuff, you could filter it out. So one of the things you can do is when you go to project type, you go to see more and you just put general building and housing only. You remove utilities, engineering, and unclassified. And then it basically puts it at anything that's a building type of job, remodel, a building, whatever. Then we are going to continue scrolling down and we want to look at valuation. So a rule of thumb is if you're a GC, here this is the construction value, like the owner's, the full construction value. So let's say I want to go after $500,000 contracts to, I don't know, 3 million, right? Now, if I'm the GC, I can start going after this. And I can just come over here. Another thing too is you want to also filter, like some of you guys are not going to be doing public jobs. So you might want to just put private jobs, right? So now this is giving me all the jobs in the last 90 days, bidding in the next 5 days, bidding in the next 1 month. Like we got 9 jobs that are potentials here. If I'm a subcontractor, what I want to do is whatever the valuation is here in this column, I'm going to divide that number by 10 and that's going to give me a range of where I might be at in my contract. So if I want to do a million, let's say I want to do $700,000 contracts. That's what I want to shoot for, or 500. I'm gonna want to put jobs that are like in the, let's say, I'm gonna want to put like $5 million range. You know what? Let's do 3 million to 10 million. That way we give ourselves a little bit more room. So bidding in 1 month, we got 1 job in my area. In the last 90 days, I guarantee that 99%. Oh, you know what? Let's go back to the bidding stage only, because if I'm a sub, I want to be only doing bidding. All right, so look, we've just filtered down that these are the perfect jobs for you right here. Boom. All right, so this is one way to do it. Now again, remember, we're looking for the big jobs. Remember I said earlier in the video that there's less competition? There are actually less jobs. So what you want to do here is you start playing with the valuations. Maybe you want to go down to like 750 to 10 million. Now we got 5. But look, these 17 jobs, a lot of them have not been awarded yet. In commercial construction, there's usually a period of 3 to 6 months for most jobs before they're awarded. These bigger jobs could take almost a year. So the fact of it being the last 90 days, that's great because a lot of these jobs, like I'd say out of these 17, most of them are available for you. All right. Now, the cool thing about this, let's pick a job. All right. So I want to do the Hialeah Murphy Oil Express project. So I can open it up and I can go into the key contacts. If I'm the GC, I can look up the architect. Look, right here's his information. The owner is here somewhere. It'll probably be in the plans. I can look up his information in the plans. So I can come over here under documents and see if we have plans. All right, we have a cover page. So oftentimes you'll find the owner's information. Look, here's a resource list. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. Let's put 200%. Yeah, I think that's good. All right, so let's see what we got. Whoop, I'm a little lost here. Hold on a second. There we go. All right, so this is telling me all the important people on the job. So let's see if somebody is in here. Look, here's the owner, Murphy Oil USA Inc. Here's the phone number. Here's the project manager. So if I'm the GC and I want to go after this job, guess what? I got my perfect person right there. If I want to reach out to the owner, here is Kara Richards. She is the project manager. See, it says PM. Here's her phone number. If she's local to me, which she's not, she's in Arkansas, I'm not going to go visit her. If she's local to me, I am going to go visit her. That's the tactic. Now, if I'm the subcontractor, I'm still going to call the owner and I'm probably still going to call the architecture firm. Let's see where the architecture firm is. Because what I want to do is I also want to find out who the other bidders are. Right, where are we? Architectural. Here we go. So here's the architecture firm right over there. So the architecture firm is GF. So here's the information. They're in New York. I can't visit them. They're kind of far. By the way, here's like a little side note. I have a client of mine. He got an opportunity to visit a client and go to a walkthrough. And he drove 6.5 hours. And he ended up walking out of there with a $2 million contract. And he told me, he's like, I listened to you. I went to go visit. Like 6 hours is a long drive, but I was like, I don't care. I'm going to go after it. It's a $2 million contract. And he landed a $2 million millwork contract for some big apartment building. I mean, I'm not saying to go fly to New York to go visit these people, but if the person is within a couple hours from you, it's worth visiting them. Like I'm telling you, visiting is very powerful. All right, so back to the contacts. So now we have all the contacts. We have the plan holders. If I'm the subcontractor, here are all the GCs that are bidding the job. I'm going to click plan holders. And I'm going to reach out to all these guys. I'm going to estimate the job. I'm going to give all these people my bid. And while I'm on the phone with them, I'm going to say, hey, I want to really start working with you. And by the way, if they are doing a $1 million project like this is, they're probably doing other $1 million projects. Hint, hint. So you want to get in with these guys. So right here, right off the bat, this is like the perfect job. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 companies. 6 companies that I can call them and visit them and say, hey, I'm interested in working with you. Can I get on your bid list? Can I get on your vendor list? What other projects do you have coming up? A lot of these guys are going to tell you, hey, I got 3 jobs coming up. Can you bid them? And guess what? Big companies don't do little jobs most of the time. They do big jobs. So guaranteed that these guys have, what happens is they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And once you have project managers and an office and you have VPs and all this stuff, big salaries, you really can't do little jobs anymore. It doesn't make any sense financially as a company. So a lot of these guys, they kind of start small and they grow up. And now they're doing these like $1 million, $5 million, $10 million contracts, and they don't do the little things. So if you get your foot in the door with these guys, boom, boom, guess what's going to be showing up in your invitations to bid on your email all the time, back to back to back. Multiple jobs every single month from companies like this. Imagine that. And in the future, you won't even need Dodge or Blue Book. So you can use this almost like a temporary basis to research your potential clients. Because at a certain point, you're going to want to own your list. You don't want to always be dependent on Dodge or Blue Book or one of these lead platforms. You want to own your own list. You want to get on your own bid list. You want to have your own master list of contacts, your own prospecting list. You want to own the list. All right, so now you are a certified lead generation expert for big projects. Congratulations. Put in the comments below your mailing address so that I can send you a certificate. All right, so a couple of things about the lead platforms. So one of the things that I did want to mention is there tends to be a lot of out-of-town companies. So out-of-town companies are valuable once they're awarded the job. So you kind of have to filter and make sure that whoever you're talking to, that they are someone that you can visit, that you can get recurring business. Because what happens a lot of times is these out-of-town companies will invite you to bid, but they have a very low closing rate because typically they're traveling GCs or they're traveling, they're not local. So they don't do jobs all the time in your area. I know general contractors and I know developers that they do jobs across the country and they're bidding here, they're bidding in Miami, California, New York, they're bidding in Texas, and they're bidding wherever they can get work. And typically in those contracts, you have to put like hotels, you have to put like per diem, and there's a bunch of stuff. So their closing rate isn't very high. They might be national companies, but they're bidding like on a volume basis, low percentage, but high volume. And they're probably not bidding that many jobs in your city. So you kind of want to focus on the jobs that they're doing repeat business. So my favorite are local guys. So whenever you're doing the lead generation, You kind of want to focus on the local people for bidding, right? Because you want to build those relationships. These are the guys that are going to be doing repeat business. I wouldn't create my whole business based on bidding for out-of-towners, because you're going to be spinning your wheels doing 1 or 2 jobs a year, maybe, if you're lucky. What you want is you want to build recurring business. So everything that we do is recurring business. So you want to get your foot in the door, build the relationships so that these guys send you bids over and over and over and over and over. That's what you want. Because at a certain point, you want to get behind enemy lines. You want to be working directly with the project management team. You want to be working with the VPs and the owners of these companies. You want to get real tight like this so that they want to use you over and over. And that's how you build $1 million company. All right. So Blue Book and Dodge are great because you can be like a sniper looking straight for the project, right? You're filtering, you're finding the right project. But I want you to really understand that the purpose of everything we do is you want to get in with the client. All right, here's a pro tip. So if you want to 10x your results, you want to multiply your chances of winning jobs, you got to use the I was in the area visit method. So what does that look like? So what happens is a lot of people nowadays are so busy that they're relying on emails and phone calls, and they're just like getting their assistant or whatever to do it, if they're even doing the prospecting. You want to visit them in person because you're literally asking these guys to give you hundreds of thousands of dollar contracts or maybe $1 million contracts. They're not going to do that if they don't know who you are. So I always say small talk and eye contact wins jobs. So you want to go shake their hands, look them in the eye. That small talk is going to give you the opportunity to demonstrate your expertise. You're going to be able to tell them experiences you've had in other job sites. They're going to ask you about previous things you've done. So all this, none of this can be conveyed usually on a phone call. Phone calls and emails are very transactional. Just a warning, if you never visit them, you're the one treating them like a transaction. So don't get mad when they go shopping your number and treating you like a transaction. All right, here's another quick pro tip before I show you how to do it without the lead platforms. If you're a sub, you have to figure out who the other general contractors bidding the job are. Because if you're GC, let's say there's 3 GCs and you're only bidding one of them, right? One of them is your client or your potential client. You have a 33% chance, a 1/3 chance of winning the job. If you have 3 competitors, let's say your guy does win the job. If you have 3 competitors, then you have another 33% chance if your GC wins the job. So at the end of the day, by only having 1 bid out, you have a 10 or 11% chance of winning the job. So the quickest thing you can do to increase your chances is find out who the other GCs are so you can get them all your bid, because if there's 3 GCs bidding, you're literally tripling your chances of winning the actual bid. All right, so some of you guys might be saying, listen, I don't want to use Dodge. I don't want to use a lead platform. What if you don't want to use a lead platform? How do you do it? That's fine, because at a certain point, you're going to want to own your list. And I talked about it a second ago, but you can use Dodge and Blue Book to find good potential clients. But at a certain point, you want to own the list, and you don't want to be dependent on these lead platforms. You never know, they could be gone tomorrow. So you always want to have a way to get leads. So essentially, by the method I'm about to teach you, you're going to become your own Blue Book and your own Dodge for yourself without needing them. All right, so at the end of the day, what you want to do is you want to have a lot of volume of invitations to bid coming into your email. You want to have a lot of owners, developers, general contractors sending you invitations for projects. What that's going to allow you to do is, if let's say over a month you have 100 potential opportunities, you can actually filter, and maybe out of those 100, maybe 20 of them are good jobs. Maybe they're 20 big jobs, and you're going to have the ability to cherry pick the best jobs. What is a good rule of thumb to know what a contract value might be? Let's say you're at a $300 a square foot range and you're getting a 10,000 square foot warehouse. $300 times 10,000 square feet is $3 million. So you know that your contract value will likely be around that range. Is that a job you want to pursue? Yes. Boom. Now we bid it. All right. If you're a subcontractor, let's say you're a drywall guy, framing and drywall installation, and you know your typical contract cost per square foot is probably around $30 a square foot. And that same project, 10,000 square feet, we know that $30 times 10,000 square feet is 300,000. So we know that our contract value is going to be around 300,000. So do we want to bid this job? Yes. Boom. Again, you want to always have a mix: small jobs, medium jobs, big jobs. The big jobs take sometimes a year to hit. The small jobs are quick, cash flow in and out. They're easy to do. So you always want to have a mix. But again, this video is specifically about doing bigger jobs. So this is how you find these bigger jobs. Get a lot of volume so you can cherry pick the best ones. All right, how do we find these local companies without lead platforms? We're going to use 2 methods: the Google method and the directory method. All right, I'm going to show you how to do both of those. All right, let's jump on the computer. The first method I'm going to show you is the Google method. So Google, if you go to maps.google.com, you're going to pull up Google Maps, and I can just type in general contractors in Miami or near me, right? Oh, look, here's IM Builders, the first result. Dade Construction, and then this guy's like an air conditioning company. So Google is going to pull up anybody that they think might be a general contractor. So the list is going to have a mix of some companies that might not be good fits. But again, I'm showing you all the methods. So we're going to go through all of these. Like, this is a drywall company, so I don't need to call them. Or if I want to find architecture firms near me, right? This is going to show me all the architecture firms. And what you want to do is you want to get on their list. You want to go visit them, introduce yourself, pass by their office. Hey, I was in the area. I wanted to meet you. I wanted to introduce my company. Here's a portfolio. Boom, nice portfolio. You can do that. All right. Now, what's another method? All right, let's do the directory method. So the directory method, I like to use the Blue Book and Procore. All right. So these are two great directories. So the Blue Book is one of the platforms that we were talking about earlier, but if you don't want to have a subscription, that's okay too, because these companies, so like let's say I'm looking for general contractors, right? General contractors in Miami. The reason these people are on the Blue Book is because they want to be found. So this is a directory. This is one of the selling points of the Blue Book. So here, look at these results. It's general contractors in South Florida, 2,352 companies. So I can actually go over here to this little website button, right click, open new window, right? So I can do this a bunch of times, and you can get an assistant to do this for you. And here you got the contact. Usually they'll have like a contact us button, or you can scroll down to like the footer. Like here's the phone number, here's their email, here's their address. So these guys are not like, I guess they must have a branch in South Florida if they're showing up under Miami. Let's go to the next one, Malachi Construction. Let's scroll down. Look, here's the phone number, view locations. Let's see. Oh, look, here we go. They are in Brickell, which is like downtown Miami. So we can come over here and pass by and visit them and introduce ourselves. Same thing with these guys. Here's their email, here's their phone number, right? The other thing you can do is you can go to the Procore Network, do the exact same thing. I can put general contractor in. Let's do Los Angeles this time. Los Angeles, let's see who shows up. So Procore is cool because they're this huge network, and I can come over here and put, I want within 100 miles, and I want only general contractors. Or if you're a GC, you could put, I want architects. Look, architecture firms. I only want to find architecture firms. And we got 9 results, which is crazy because LA is such a big place. But if we want to do general contractors, look, we have 165 results. And if they're on Procore, they're a legit company. So like you could trust that they're legit. And all you have to do is the same thing. Open, right? Let's just do a couple. And I'm doing this live, so I haven't even really seen. So like, I know right here, there's usually a website button, but here's the email, here's the phone, here's the address, here's the phone number, right? So what you could do is you can come and say, all right, their address is not here. So let's look up veterans. Let's do this. Let's copy and paste all this, right? Let's go to Google. I'm doing this live, so I don't even know what's going to come up. Boom, veterans, general contractor. Look, now, same thing. Here's their information, phone number, email. Boom, we're exactly the same thing. Now, the cool thing is some of these guys will have their website here. See that link right there? We can open up Banderas General Contractor, and then we can keep going. Let's say we want to find, look, Hadley General Contractors. Let's see what we got here. Hadley, here's the website. Look, here's a website. Boom. All right, here's the phone number. So again, you start putting this on your list. Boom, boom, boom. I know this video is kind of getting a little long, but I really wanted to go deep because I want you to see how this is how you prospect, guys. This is exactly how you do it. Look, here's the information. So if you're in LA, I mean, I'm not familiar too much with California because I'm in South Florida. I've been to LA once. My wife dragged me to a Coldplay concert and we went, but I don't know how far this is. This might be pretty close or it could be super far. I'm not sure. But the point is that they're in California. So this would be where you want to go visit them, essentially. All right. So I showed you on the computer how to find the projects. I showed you how to use Dodge and Blue Book. I showed you how to use the directories, how to use Google. Now we finally made our list. We have to do the prospecting. Now we have to do the actual work. And you might be thinking, wait, but I thought this was about doing bigger projects. Yes, the thing is that at the end of the day, the process of finding and bidding and negotiating and winning a small job is the same as a big job. So if it's the same work, why not focus on big jobs? All right, so something that I wanted to make a point of, if you're bidding bigger projects, you're gonna be operating at a new level. I want you to understand that. So your competitors are gonna be more sophisticated. You're dealing with professionals, not amateurs. Or like my old boss used to say, the guys that work from the back of the truck, you're not gonna be dealing with those guys. Your competitors are gonna be businessmen. They're not gonna be the small guy that can barely afford to finance a job. You're gonna be dealing with people with credit lines, people with project managers, vice presidents. These are gonna be your competitors when you're elevating the game. Remember, business is a sport. Treat it like a competition. When do you get a chance to be in the Super Bowl? Every freaking day. Think about athletes. What do? They're working on their skill. They're getting better. They're getting better at their specific positions, right? Every single day. And I want you to do the same thing. If you're gonna be elevating your company, elevating your skill, going to the next level, working with bigger companies, you need to treat this like a game. You need to treat this like a competition. Work on your skills, work on your knowledge, work on getting better every single day. All right, so now you're rocking and rolling, you're on bid lists, you're getting invitations to bid, you have GCs, architects calling you, they're sending you projects. Now what? Now we have to estimate it. And you're gonna see that the next obstacle you're gonna have is, how am I gonna estimate all these jobs? The truth is that estimating is our industry's pandemic. So we all got out of COVID, so we know what a pandemic is. And in construction, contractors barely have time to breathe. And typically your day is going to be handling emergencies. So one of the issues is that a trained estimator is a rainmaker. He's the guy that makes the money, right? He's the one that sends the proposals to win the jobs. So he's a very important person. Therefore, his salary is typically above $100,000 a year. Then when you factor in workers' comp, insurance, office software subscriptions, paid time off, medical, all that stuff, you're looking at $120,000 to $150,000 a year. So it's kind of out of reach for the smaller guys. And if you're watching this video, it's because you want to sell these bigger jobs. And guess what? When you sell these bigger jobs, you can afford an in-house guy. All right, so what is the solution? There are these amazing estimating firms, hint, hint, that can estimate your entire project for you. Labor, material, supervision, equipment, profit, they can do it all, whether you're a GC or subcontractor, and write your proposals and everything. And estimating should never be a crutch. It should never be the reason you can't grow your company. So that's actually the reason that I created I Am Builders back in 2016, because I wanted to help contractors grow their business through estimating. My very first client was a painting contractor. I did some takeoffs. I started reaching out to some other people, and it turns out that every contractor doesn't have time to estimate. Whenever my phone rings, it's like, I don't have time. I'm missing bid dates. I'm giving up bids. I'm not bidding enough. I'm underbidding. I'm overbidding. I don't know what I'm doing. Like it's like stressful, right? I'm working nights and weekends. I'm missing my kid's baseball game, his football game, because they're busy bidding. And it shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't ever have a scenario where you can't grow your business because of something like that, right? So I created our on-demand service. So by the way, if you ever need estimating, you can send it to us, info@iambuilders.com. All right. This is not a sales pitch. I'm just letting you know in case you're running into that scenario, because it really is a big issue. We have estimating. We have our on-demand estimating program. We have our leads program. We have our estimating on a subscription program. So whatever you need, if you need some help, just reach out to us and one of my account managers will give you a hand. One of the biggest tips I can give you is volume is going to be your best friend. All right, you have to get more bids out so you can have more chances to negotiate, because we are in a game of probability. Even if you have the best sales skills, even if you have the best bid price, it doesn't mean you're always going to win the jobs. You have to get enough bids out there where you get in front of the negotiating table, where you get on the negotiating table as often as you possibly can. So you have to have a lot of output. So your options are, A, you can estimate yourself, which obviously you have no time. B, you can hire an estimator, which is $100,000 and up plus workers' comp, insurance, blah, 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 120,000 or more. You can't really hire a young guy because they can make mistakes and that can cost you a lot of money. All right. And option C is you can use a qualified US-based estimating firm that has been there and done that. So here's a warning. Like if you do a Google search, just a disclaimer, if you do a Google search and you put like construction estimating firms, you're going to see a bunch of companies pop up. Make sure you vet them, because there's companies that are in New York, Texas, California, that they're actually overseas in India, Pakistan, in the Middle East. And these guys aren't really experienced in US construction. And you don't really want somebody that doesn't know what they're doing estimating your $1 million job, especially not these big ones. So whoever you choose, hint, hint, make sure that they're qualified, make sure they carry an errors and omissions insurance, make sure they're a licensed, some sort of general contractor or a license in their specific trade, whatever it is, just make sure. All right, hint, hint. All right, you might be low-key freaking out like, oh my gosh, so much information thrown your way. And that's good. And I purposely make these videos like that because I really, really want you to be successful. I'm literally not holding anything back. And there's one more thing that's critical that you can't have success without. And I'm gonna share that with you in a second. But before I do, if you feel like you're in a scenario where you need help with leads, with commercial leads, with maybe your professional sales and construction management for your company, I'm gonna put a link in the description below so that you can set up a strategy call with one of my account managers, and we're gonna talk to you about your company, what your needs are, and see if it's a good fit, see if there's something that we can help you with. All right, so just want you to know that we're available to you there, and you don't have to go at this alone. All right, so now what do I need? What is this mystery thing that I need to be successful with? For all this to work, you have to increase your perceived value. You have to convey to your client that you know what you're doing. And it's not just about bidding the job and getting a good price out of it. In the next video, I'm gonna give you a tactic that is unfair. I'm gonna show you how to elevate your perceived value. I'm gonna show you how to convey your expertise so you can negotiate that job and you can close it, so that your competitors have zero chance of beating you. All right, so watch this video and it's literally gonna make your clients pick you over your competitors.